So let's start. So heading to our desktop, first we will clone the Git repository. So as in discussed in our previous video, we will create a Flutter app using the command Flutter create. And, okay, the name is not good. We have to write it all small. So so the app is now created. Now let's launch the app. In the web mode, we will do in the web mode, then in the next later stage we will go to the Android part of it. So basically Flutter is a multi, we can deploy on multi platforms. So first we'll code in the web browser, then we have to only change the UI for the mobile, but the same code will be same for all. First. So the first of the new created app, we'll see our counter app, which is the Flutter default one. So the actually main code of the Flutter starts from this, the void main part. From here, all the logic is the main entry point of the Flutter app, you can say. And here is our material app, and inside this, we will create the app where we can give the theme of the app for default items. For example, if we do want to change the color of our app bar, so or any other UI pattern, so you can do like this, and we can see that this is orange, orange, orange. So we will explore these all very deep. So first let's start deleting our app and first create our login page. So Flutter exactly has two types of widget. One is a stateless widget, another is stateful widget. So the stateful widget is that where the state of the app can be changed, and a stateless widget, the state of the app is not changed. For example, we can see that if we make a stateless widget, and for example, we give here a text, That is, we defined a number. For example, int I is equal to 0, and we give here I dot to string. So you can see a 0. So exactly in the stateful widget, we can actually change the state of the UI. For example, you can see that if I give a button here, is the text visible or I make it large? Hello,
Yes, sir, it's visible.
it is visible. So So we will make a function which is increase count, and so now you can see there is a 0 and plus icon, and I have given here counter to increment. So if I press, so see we can see in the debug mode the counter is incremented but is not reflected in UI. And so if we do the set state method, which actually updates the UI and build the tree again, so we can see that now the counter will be also updated. So see it is 1 and 1. So now it will be 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can see the counter is increasing. So actually in the stateful widget, the tree rebuilds itself. For example, here is the build method. You can see. So it is in the stateful widget, if we call set state method. So the widget tree will build itself and the new UI will be updated. So if we are calling, if we are pressing the button, so it will call the set state and increase the counter to 1. And in the build state, the tree widget will build again, and the next I it will be updated to the next value, which is 13. So let's understand the Flutter something. So actually, you can see. So you can see in this diagram that Flutter always acts like a tree structure. So if we make a container, then its child means its child will be a row. So its children will be column. And if in the column we can make many children as we want, so we can see that container can have a child, so and text as a parent container. So Flutter always makes the widget in tree-like structure. So let's see here. So as I defined a column can have many widgets. So you can see that I have given a container and a button. So in the column we have two widgets, and we can make as many widgets we want in the column. And actually, column is like we think as in a 2D grid. We can see that column is always a vertical thing. So it always align the widget in vertical order. So if we do 13, then for and the next button is here press, so it will be a down one. So we can see that it will always be in a row, in a column type, means in the vertical order. So again, if we want, we can see by adding one more widget, which is a container. So see, we have added one more widget, which is a container widget, and it is just below it. So you can think column as a two in a column in as we do in a 2D matrix column, and for the row we can think it is a row in a 2D matrix. So example we can see that 0 then press is here, which is now aligned in the column wise, means horizontal like this direction, and column will be aligned in this direction. And one more thing is that the cost of the making a stateful widget is more. So it is recommended that how much as possible we have to be in the stateless widget and make stateless widget. So now let's start this, how to build our first page. So first we have to make a container. So let's switch back to a stateless widget first. And it is okay. So So if we see that our text has a blue yellow line here, so it is because we are not using a scaffold. A scaffold is we can think as a cover which is used in Flutter, and for more details on scaffold, you can visit here about scaffold. So you can read about scaffold here. So let's go forward now. So first thing, we should always add a scaffold because scaffold provides many properties such as how to add a app bar. So we can add a app bar from here. We can add bottom navigation bar from here. As we can see in mobile app, we have a bottom navigation bar. So we can add in the scaffold, and then we can give a background color to our app, for example. So see, we can see we have done all the black here. So let's start. So as I have told before that it is like everything in a Flutter is widgets, and widget has a child. So child. So we can give a text, and in text we can write our title. So we can see the Unimind here. So as only scaffold has a one body property, so we can add a widget. So, but we want to make a widget, so we will use column because column is also a widget. Everything in the we can say that everything in the Flutter is a widget. So in column we can give as many widget we want. So we can give as many widget we want that it is defined in our app UI. But we can give only a one. We can give only a one widget to the body part of the scaffold. So there are many widgets, for example, which can do in the vertical order. We can use a wrap, which can wrap the widgets. So it will squeeze the widget to as low as possible. But for our UI purpose, we will use column. So the next component of the UI that we have used here is we want two fields, one for email that the user will provide, another for will be the password. So for that, Flutter provides the widget, which is known as text field. So we'll declare two text field here, and we can see now that our text field is also ready. Okay, so let's switch it back to what is blue color because orange is like that. So we can see that we have now two text field also. The next component of a UI is our button, where a user has option to log in or sign in. So next we start again add a widget. Here we will write. So we can see that our basic thing is ready, but it is too poor. So we have to make some adjustments. So let's first center all the things. So Flutter has a column has two property, which is we can add a main axis alignment and a cross axis alignment. The main axis alignment acts vertically, whereas cross axis alignment acts as horizontally. So let's start centering all the things. So, so everything is centered now. So as in the UI, we can see that the button is having black color and inside that the text is white. So we have an option to add color to the button, which is a color property. So we'll apply that. So actually, has Flutter has two types of things. One is the material theme, and another is Cupertino theme. So for the iOS purpose, the Cupertino theme is used, and for the material purpose, you can use that material theme. It depends upon your choice. So for example, we can choose here the iOS colors which are used. So it is present in the Cupertino colors. So you can see we have now a border around the text, and we need another button which here says that if the user has account or he needs account. So we will again add a button. So we can see that we don't have any border around this button. So we want to remove this color. So we will remove the color property which we have planned earlier. So now it is, but the text inside is blue. But here, according to the UI, we want black. So if we hover over the text property, then we can see that text has a lot of property which we can change. And so to style the text, we have a text style. So, so we'll do the style. Then we write text style. And in text style, if we hover over it, we can see there is a lot of things that we can give a color. We can give font size, font weight, font style, and everything that we can make to do the font decorative. So we will apply first color. So now we can see that it is black. Now coming, talked about styles. We can give style either as calling the text style, in which we can give everything, or we can use the property that we have defined globally. For example, we want to make our app with another colors or thing, so we can add here a theme text theme property and can use later by calling it. You can use theme data text theme. So you can see that it has a lot of options that heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, and overline, subtitle, large, medium. So what are these things? So first continue to this. First we so you can see in if you go to material design typography, and you can see all the properties which is heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, subtitle, body. So which you use in the what we say a normal we say that a web design. So we can add all type of things here also. So we have to make our heading. So which is a big large. So we'll do heading 1. And now you can see that our heading is also large, but we can see that it is black, but it is gray. So to change this, we can again use a property. If we do that color, we can use copy with, and actually with copy with, we can allow the all the things which we do in the text style. For example, color, font size, font weight, everything. So we will give color to color dot black, and now you can see that we have done a little lower. Now we have to do some spacing, and the next two thing is that how to how to make it beautiful by adding some spaces here, here, and adding a placeholder and making the text field nice. So for the text field, the Flutter, if you hover over this bulb in your editor, then you will get you will get all the property for the shortcut. We can say you can wrap with a widget. If you want to make a widget, you can wrap with center, or you can wrap with a padding. Padding is actually, so if you have a app, so if you come from web development, so you can understand padding. It will add spaces around here, here, and here. So it will pad the text. So we will add it with the padding. So we can see that we have added a padding of 8 to every side, but it is not looking beautiful. So we can add padding by giving whatever number we want. But the problem is that if so the problem is that if the device size varies, then the padding will be a constant padding. So there may the EU design may look bad. So we will use the media query property to add padding. So for the horizontal padding, we will use media. And again, making a copy of it. So now we can see we have added padding from both the sides. Now we have to do the same thing. We have to add a padding over this button also. So instead of so the padding adds from all the directions. So but we want to only add a give a little space between these. So we can use a size box. So size box has two property. One is width, how much width you want and how much height you want, and it can take a child also. But we don't know. We only want a height, so we will give a height of. So now we can see that it looks similar, somewhat similar to our design, but we need here a placeholder and make it more beautiful. So in media account, okay, and we need to add email and password in the text field. So for the text field, if you hover over it, it will have many properties. So the property we use here is the decoration property, which add the hint text and all the things. So for that we will use input decoration, and for that we will type hint text. And for the hint text, we have to first we insert it we email, and for the same we have to wait for the second one. So we can see that the email and password is type of black, but in the UI field it is somewhat of gray, and this is the only thing we have to do also. So first we'll change that. So there is again in the hint text, it has also a hint style. So if we do hint style is same as our text style. So we can give the text style property, and everything will be available here. For example, the color, font size. So in the color, we will choose colors gray, but we will reduce the opacity to 2 or 5. 5 to 50, I think. So now it is okay. It looks good. Yes. So this is the same thing. So you can copy it here. And so the second last thing we have to do that if we click on this, then this is blue, but here it is a black color, type of black, which will match with the UI. So if we do blue here, so it does not look good. So next we will do the coloration of border. Search for border color. It is present or not here. Okay, if we are not getting how to add border, then we can do a simple Google search. Okay. So for the border, we use enable border property with outline. So we can try this. Enable border. It is giving all side border. Let's try this. Okay, now the border is gone. We have lost border. Okay. Yeah, you can see. Now this is a black color border we want. Or we can change some opacity to 0.3 or let it be 6. The last thing that they see we here the hover part that is blue color. So we want to do it black. So let's do that as black. Okay. Yeah, that's a color. So we can see the cursor color is black and the text is black and the both is black. So we just need to make a copy of it for the password, the same thing. So we can see. But now going to the UI, so these tools look similar. The only difference is that I have here added a different class of text that is accept propose display. So let's add that. So to adding some assets, we will first make a folder in our main directory, main assets, and in that we will make a folder fonts. So let's add the fonts first. So our text was accept pro display regular. So we have to switch this font. And the next UI font was accept pro regular and accept pro semi-bold. For the placeholder, we have XSC regular. So you can add any custom font you want. So I'm using these two font. So we'll cut this font and add to a folder which I've created in assets fonts, and we can rename it as you want. So I'm making this for simplicity. It was semi-bold. Semi. Okay. Now to add fonts or any image to your Flutter app, you have to first go into pubspec.yaml file. And for adding any images, which we'll see in our future videos, we will add the images here. And for the fonts, we will add the fonts here. So select these from here, the fonts. and just comment these things. So in the family, this was a SF family, so we'll add SF. And in fonts, we will add the location, which was assets slash fonts slash p regular OTF and it was semicolon. And again, we have to make a copy of it. You can add the whole family here, but I'm doing here different so that in later stitches we don't do. Okay, it was regular and it was semi. So and after running that, you have to just write do the pub get, or you can do from the terminal, or you can just click on the button, or in the VS Code it is written here pub get. You can click on it. So after adding any assets or any images or font, my recommendation is first to close the app and then to restart. You can, because in sometimes in hot reload it doesn't work. So let's add the font which have been imported. So for the text style, we will use font family, and it was FFs and West Orber regular. So that oh, sorry, it was regular. It was also regular font. It was also a regular font, and the same applies here to the regular font. And for the login also, and for the need an account, it was semi-complete. So we can see that we have achieved for today we have to do, and the next we will add it connected with the Firebase and add the authentication logic. Hello. So let us do the last commit. Hello, Ali.
Yeah,
So we have to continue to connect with the Firebase, or we will do in the next episode or the next class.
we can do it in the next session, I guess.
Okay, next session. Okay. So thank you for today.
Thank you, sir.
If you have any question, then you can add me in. You can text me to the my mail ID or LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn. So just so this is my LinkedIn ID or this is my Twitter handle. Yeah, you can search me at Vijay Shankar, Vijay Really on Twitter. So thank you. And it is available on the GitHub also, the project, which is on Vijay Shankar Realty, Unimind. And this is the today's work. Thank you for being with me.